All right, what's good, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just wanted to jump onto another call with you guys. Obviously, make sure that we're identifying the markets and teaching as much as I possibly can to really help you guys become more consistent and profitable Forex traders. So, what's good, everybody? Good morning. Hopefully, everyone had an amazing week so far. I know today is, if I'm correct, Thursday. Yes, it is. So we have one true day left of the week for actual trading, finding some opportunities, really being able to mark something up that will make some sense and make some money. So I obviously want to jump onto the call and ensure that we are all doing that together. So again, good morning, everybody. If there is any questions that you guys may have, if there's any specific markets that you would like for me to take a look at, I will obviously take a look at that and really make sure that I dig deep into it, give you the needed knowledge and education and value on it, and then go from there. But what's good, everybody? What is good? What is good? All right, so obviously, you guys, if you are if you're on these sessions a lot, if you're on the sessions every day, you guys already know I like to look at gold first. It gives us a basic overlay of what the general market will be doing. I still see gold very bearish. I'll mark this up here in a second. I just wanted to see, okay. I'm moving. Oh, you guys can't see. I have another screen in front of me, so you guys can't see my other screen. But I wanted to see something on another pair. I thought we had an entry on that, but we don't. But all right, so we'll take a look at gold real quick, and then obviously, if you guys have any questions, if there's any markets you guys want me to take a look at, I will make sure that I do that. But yeah, just let me know in the chat, and I'll make sure that I got you guys. So I'm just looking at gold really quick because obviously, again, understanding this market will show us what the initial or what U.S. cross pairs will be doing. And the reason why I do that is because obviously, if we're trading the New York session, I want to know what the U.S. dollar is doing because that's going to be the more volatile market, and you probably will get the better opportunities since there's going to be movements in that market. But I'm just going to draw our ascending channel, if you will, right now. Now, I don't think that this is going to continue to ascend, but we can see it trading within that channel currently, so I want to mark that up. And I also want to identify this level of structure here. Now, I know there's like a break between there and there, but I'm just going to see if actually I'll just leave that there. Yeah, I'll change that. So I'm just marking up gold really quick to see what we initially have. Now, what I'll be looking for is potential sells. Now, before we even do that, there is some news. Very, I wouldn't say too dramatic. We should have some type of movement and volatility, though. We have US news at 8:30, which is coming up, and it's only orange level, but it's still very much could give us an impact. So there's not going to be a trade on this as of yet, but what I would expect is if gold can break lower, meaning breaking below that trend line, I'll go ahead and look for another entry. Is the Gbpjpy still in play? What do you think? What do you think? Oh, I'm over here. I'm trying to look at other places because I want to see if there's any good programmers out there. And I've actually, and I'll actually share this with you guys. I've actually been looking at this one guy here to see if he can actually program a actual EA for my students and everything. And I was actually looking at two others, but this guy might actually, this guy might actually be the one that I will go for. As you see, he has tons of results. These are not my results. These are not my students, but he has a lot of stuff. So I might actually ask him to help program a EA for us. So I was taking a look at some of his profits here, which looks really good, honestly. Looks very, very good. So I want to see if we could take advantage of that. But if we go over here to my section, the analysis, I know I gave you guys a trade on CHFJPY, but what do you guys think? We are already in profits on that, right? So I told you guys to sell CHFJPY. And you guys can see we did have a stop loss hit on US30, but you can see here that the CHFJPY is very much still in profits. So if you're asking about is it still in play, what do you think? Yes, you're going to hold that trade. You want to make sure that when you place a trade, you stay patient enough for it to be held into profits. Actually, I'll show you a really good example of that. We had another trade. I sent it out to my students, and if I'm correct, I think it was USD CAD. Yes, so USD CAD, you guys already had the CHFJPY trade, but I told students to sell USD CAD, right? So with selling USD CAD, we'll actually we'll transition to that and go over that trade really quick. I took a buy trade on gold the other day, still in profit right now. I should probably close it and wait for the sell. Yeah, I mean, if you're in profits on that gold trade, if I'm correct, if that was a gold trade that I told you to place on the live session, I would say to close that because I do believe that sells will be commencing. But we'll go over this really quick again, just so like from my man VZO. I don't know how to pronounce that as an actual name, but somebody had asked if our signal that I had sent out to you guys in our Discord, and if you're not a part of our Discord, make sure you go into the description below. The link to our Discord is there, so you'll be able to stay in touch with any stay on top of any updates and any lives that I do, and obviously any signals. But I did tell you guys to sell CHFJPY, and you guys should still be in that trade. And also, I asked students to sell USD CAD, and the reason why I'm speaking on this is the idea of patience, right? Allowing your trade to develop, because I don't know how many students had hit me up yesterday and was like, yo, Jay, USD CAD is a loser. It's not in profits. What are you doing? Why is it buying when you told it to sell? This is a great example of having patience within your markup, right? Because we actually sold from here. And the analysis was based off, I just deleted it, but we did have an initial trend line intersecting there, right? There was an initial idea. It was this perfect at the time, and it stems from over there. So I think it's a little bit further out, but we looked at a sell from there. And as you can see here, I did advise students to go ahead and place that sell in our signal group. And the market didn't initially give us the immediate sell, right? It started buying. This is called drawdown. When you place a trade, you must stay patient when you're in it, because it's not immediate. Like a lot of individuals think that once you place a trade, it's immediately in profits. That's not always the case, but you stay true to your guns, right? You stay patient. You allow the market to truly develop into your favor. You can even identify other potential trading opportunities or entries, such as that level of structure that was hit there, right? Because I was looking at this trend line, but I definitely took into consideration this level of structure. That is why I put my stop losses just above the last previous highs and give us a little bit of room to breathe with our trade. A lot of individuals, they'll put their stop loss so close to their entry and then they get immediately taken out. With a little bit of patience, you let that market come back and then you're in profits. And as you see here, all you have to do is trust your trade, trust your analysis, and let the market work for you. Don't work for the market. You let the market work for you. So as you see here, with a little bit of patience, this USD CAD, just like CHFJPY, is very much still in play. So if you're in that CHFJPY trade, let's actually go over to it now. If you're still in that, I deleted my analysis. If I'm correct, the trade was like here. Our entry was just roughly around that area. Stop loss is just above there, and our take profits are down here. So yes, it is still very much in play as far as a trade itself. Now, if you're asking, is it still in play so that way you can sell it right now? Absolutely not. Do not, and I repeat, do not place a trade or think that since our entry, or, I placed that trade last night. That's a long time ago. Our entry is far gone. You should be in profits if you place it. If you go ahead and place it right now, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're, one, placing the trade way late, and two, it's already in profits. It's already made its move. So you probably see this, right? You probably end up in a little bit of drawdown. It still has the opportunity to even lose. But for us, since we have our entry somewhere over here, we have the ability to move our stop loss to break even. So that way, if something like this, let's say if you place it here and it does go ahead and just skyrockets, we're safe because we were able to place an accurate entry. So be very, 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 be very cautious of that. Somebody said reading minds. Yeah, you know what it is? I've been doing this for so long, and that's not a flex or anything. It's just a sense of, I kind of already understand the questioning, because then the follow-up is always, so can I place it now? You know what I mean? So I kind of understand, and I always want to make sure that I can answer questions before they even ask, because that's true value. All right, so let me see real quick. We were in a lot of drawdown on the CHFJPY, and now it's in profit. Tell those guys to chill out and get this bread. Now, you know what it is? I do understand that concept though, right? Because when you place a trade, so let's go back real quick. Let's replay this. So our trade, if I'm correct, was like our entry is somewhere over here. I'm not even sure. I could probably check on the auto trader here in a second. Our entry was like over here somewhere. I'll just get this out the way. And let's say our stop loss, and I don't know exactly off the top of my head where we put our stop loss on the chart, but I know I'm always going to put my stop loss, or I'm in the Discord. I know where I'm always going to put my stop loss on the chart, just above the previous high. So again, giving you a little bit of room to breathe. All right. So VZO, you said, oh, okay, gotcha. Is that what you were asking? You were just seeing if you could place a trade right now? Yeah, please don't. But this is why I always leave my stop loss just above the previous highs, because, or above or below the previous point, right? It doesn't matter if I'm going to sell. If I'm selling, I want to put it above the previous highs. If I'm buying, I want to put it below the previous lows. So this is why I give my trade a little bit of room to breathe, because this could happen. End up in a little bit of drawdown. You saw that one candle that just spiked down and came right back up. This is the market building that momentum, building the volatility needed to then make that initial move. So again, you leave your stop loss just above a little bit, but I can understand the severity or the questions or even the worry, because let's say I put my stop loss right here, right? Let's say I put it right there. You can see the market just like the candle right at your stop loss. I, as a trader, understand that fear and that concern, right? Because you're like, oh, well, my stop loss is about to be hit. Again, give your trade a little bit of room to breathe, because this happens. Don't get scared if you see a little bit of drawdown, right? You always want to make sure that you give your trade a little bit of room to breathe. You trust your analysis and you let the market work for you. Because now look, we're in small profits. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing dramatic. I mean, the USD CAD trade is better for us, but about 30, 34, almost 35 pips in profit. So still very much a valid trade, but you always want to stay patient with everything that you do. Let me just see this real quick. Okay, this is another trade. This is actually, I put this in our auto trader first. Can you tell me? No, VZO. And real quick, I'm only here to teach. I'm not here. I don't want to hit you guys with anything else. But if you have questions, just hit me up on Facebook or Discord. Actually, your best bet is to probably hit me up on Discord. If you're not in the Discord, the link is in the description below. You can go ahead and join and then send me a message or send a message in the legacy chat, and I'll make sure that I get back to you at my earliest convenience, because I still have like 100 messages to read. The majority of my day is spent literally reading messages and speaking with students and making sure they're good and helping them out. So yeah, make sure that you join the Discord. I'll hit you up and I'll tell you everything. But I just wanted to see what our AUD USD trade was doing, see if we should in fact take profits, but I don't believe so as of yet. And if you're looking at this like, can we get into this? No, please don't. Our entry's down here. But yeah, what questions do you guys have? What specific markets would you like to take a look at now that we have a bunch of people on? I want to make sure that I'm speaking on relevance. I was just going over our previous trade here with Gbpjpy. Somebody had asked about it to see if it was still very valid to place. I don't think it's valid to place anymore, but still very much an accurate trade, and we are in some small profits. I forgot exactly where our entry is, but you guys should be in profits. Euro GBP is doing great. Yeah, that was a really good trade, actually. We'll take a look at this. This was something that we found earlier this week on our YouTube live, right? We were able to actually identify a potential trade opportunity over here. So I'll actually go over the reasoning behind it, but you guys can see right now our final take profits have been hit. And just so that way you guys can see in the Discord, we'll go over here to our analysis, and you can see right here that we did express our success on the Euro GBP trade. Why is oh, this is supposed to be for, okay, I messed up on the link on that, but you can see here Euro GBP very much in profits for us. So yeah, we'll go over the entry or the reasonings behind that, so that way everyone here can understand the reasoning on why we placed it and why it was able to be profitable. Now, a lot of individuals always ask me, why is there not so much on your chart? Why do you not have a lot of markups? Why does my chart not look like this? Right? I swear to God, everybody's always asking me, why don't you have everything marked up on your chart? Why is it so plain? Why does your chart not look like this? This chart, if your chart ever looks like this, where your zones are crazy, you're identifying every single point, you're never going to truly understand what you're looking for. If we keep it simple, we understand a few things, you'll be able to understand how and where to place a trade. So I'm going to scale up to the daily time frame, because this is what we were looking at. If I'm correct, we were also looking, I think we're here. I'm not too sure exactly the day that we placed this. If I'm correct, it might have been Monday. But if we look left to get right, it gives us a strong indication of what's going to happen in the market. So the one thing I'm looking at is the trend. And I'm always on the higher time frame, being the weekly or the daily, to see the overall movement and trend of the market. So I can see that right now on the daily time frame, that overall Euro GBP was very bullish, right? Because if we look from these lows to these highs, and I'm drawing this out specifically so you can kind of see what I'm doing before I even say it, to these highs, this was a bullish market until what? It reached a PRZ, which is considered a potential reversal zone. So PRZ. These are the only zones that will stop a trending market. I was going to say a bullish market, but obviously it can stop a bearish market as well. So this being our PRZ, our potential reversal zone. What does that mean? We can make trading very easy, or we can make trading very difficult. Self-explanatory. PRZ, potential reversal zone. What do you think that means? It means that it has the potential to reverse from this zone. Ta-da! Because I've said that to somebody who like, I still don't understand. What is a potential reversal zone? It's everything that it's the context or what we're saying, right? So if we can see that we are at a PRZ zone, we should be identifying some actions at this point. Again, we trade price action, where we identify the most relevant level of price and the actions that proceed within them. So if I can see that the market right now is giving me some action here, or at least about to show us some form of action at a PRZ zone, I need more detail, right? Because I can't get all that information just off the daily. Now we're going to switch to the 4-hour time frame. This is called time frame confluence, where you're making sure that each time frame is telling you the same thing. I don't want to just go onto the daily and say, well, this is buying and that's it, and then the 4 hours telling me to sell, and then it's all mixed up. Each time frame has to either tell me buy or sell. I want to make sure they all align together. So when I go ahead and scale down to the 4-hour time frame, we're going to identify, or even any time frame for that matter, it could be the 4-hour, it could be the 1 hour, but you're going to try to identify some bearish characteristics. And we can see that we were starting to get some rejection from this range due to the fact that we started getting a sell-off as soon as we hit that point. So now when I scale down to the 1-hour time frame, there were some things developing around this area. Can anyone see it? And a lot of people always get at me, like, yo, why do you always identify that pattern? It's because it's very relevant. It pops up almost every day, or at least a few times during the week in multiple markets. The market patterns that are left, the patterns rather that the markets leave behind, show us a true idea and further actions to solidify a potential trade and to really see what the market's going to be doing next. So if I let this play out a little bit, I think it came back up if I'm correct. If not, I'll just go over it. Okay. There we go. So what we were looking at was the market creating now a head and shoulders pattern. Now, if you don't think that this is a relevant idea or the pattern is not a good one, TradingView itself has a head and shoulders tool. That's very important. Why? Because it should give you a little bit more confidence in the pattern itself. So, and I hate the tool itself. I know I'm over here saying great job TradingView for adding the tool, but sometimes it never lines up the way I need it. So I'll just draw it out like this. You can see this being the left shoulder. You can see this being the head of the pattern, and you can see this starting to form that right shoulder. This was our entry. Let me get rid of this and this and this. This was our actual entry, somewhere around this area, if I'm correct. I think it might have been a little bit lower. Might have been somewhere around there. I'm not too sure of our exact entry right now, but I'll go over there and see where it is in a second. But the one thing I'm always identifying when I'm looking at a head and shoulders pattern is you're not going to do this, right? And it's still very valid even if you do. It's still a high probable trade setup. But what people like to do is placing their trade after the neckline is broken, being the fact that it has now created a new lower high and new lower low. And what a lot of individuals do is they get in on that retest, which is completely fine. But here's a secret, right? Here's a little trick. And if you haven't, I'm pretty sure if you've been on my sessions before, I'm just going over the same thing over and over, but repetition is key. And that's how you learn, and that's how you become profitable. So I'm not going to trade on that breakout. What I like to do is I like to trade off that left shoulder price. Right? Why? Because when you have a head and shoulders pattern, the head of the pattern is actually considered a fake out, right? So let's do this. Head of the pattern is a fake out. What does that mean? It's faking you out, exactly what it's saying, right? Because it's showing you that it wants to break up higher to create a higher high and then a potential higher low, right? So you're expecting this. A break and a retest and a continued move to the upside. But what you end up getting is, in fact, the close right below that level of structure where it wanted to break out. It's like, is the grass greener on this side? It takes a look and it's like, nah, it's really not. It's not green. Let me come back. And it comes right back over. And that is your true level of resistance because it was respected before it's going to be respected again because it tried breaking higher. Buyers tried to push this higher, but it couldn't. And now you can see the market respecting that price point. This is your true entry point with a head and shoulders pattern. A lot of people might digress, but you can't argue with me if we had a profitable trade. So what ended up happening? We looked left to get right. It came right back to our left shoulder price. That is our true resistance. As you can see here, if I press play, actually, I'll just do this, re-add that. I'm not too sure exactly where our entry is. Let me see real quick. Yeah, pretty much. Let me actually, I have the link there. Yeah, pretty much within that area. So again, you can see that we entered off of that price point. There was further confluence of our initial Fibonacci retracement tool, right? Adding the confluences together, making sure that we are not just identifying level of structure, support, resistance. No, when you identify a level of structure, price, the actions that form there are very important. What is an action? One of the actions being the fact that we have that 61.8 Fibonacci retracement ratio there as well. Now, if you're asking what Fib ratio is the best to always enter off of, do you only focus on the 618? No. Each ratio should be considered and they should all be used. But what you want to do is identify a Fib ratio, any of them, at a level of significant price and structure. Because what that Fib is doing is adding another level of resistance. So if I had just the Fib, that's one level of resistance. Now, when I add structure, you're adding further confluence. It's making that point much stronger and proving to you that it's having trouble breaking above. If you know that it can't break above your level of resistance alongside a Fib ratio, and you have your candles giving you further action stating that, well, this is obviously rejecting, right? Wicks equal rejection. And when you get that at a significant level of structure, and you have further confluence such as a Fib, a trend line. I just added that. The trend line wasn't valid during the confirmation, but I wanted to add that in the case that it was relevant in the future, being that it breaks lower, comes back, and we could get another entry off of it. So the trend line not valid now, but I'm going to leave that in our analysis just for the educational purposes, for the idea of this is how you identify an entry. You must have a level of significant structure. You must have further confluence in that level of structure, being candlestick patterns or the characteristics of them, Fibonacci retracement ratios, if in fact you can use a Fib in that situation. And you also want to make sure that you have, if in fact, now, again, I know this trend line is not valid, but if you have a trend line intersecting there, you're putting more confluence into your trade. So what we did was we identified, and also in this case for this trade setup itself, the head and shoulders pattern, everything just lined up, right? We were able to see that we hit again a higher level of time frame structure. We can see that it hit that PRZ, which is confirming or giving us the idea that sellers are probably going to take control. The actions on the smaller time frame confirm that, right? Time frame confluence, you want to make sure that everything meshes together. So me being able to see, again, higher time frame structure being respected, smaller time frame analysis being the head and shoulders pattern, the break lower, the idea of this this head and shoulders pattern being respected, or the right shoulder respecting the left shoulder price, that was a valid entry. Everything lined up for us to work beautifully for our trade setup on Euro GBP. So that's why we placed it. If you're ever looking to identify a potential trade opportunity and entries, that's how you do it, right? I get a lot of people always saying, Jay, why are you always on the higher time frame? I don't understand. If you're on the daily and the weekly, aren't you only getting basically one trade a week? Absolutely not. Once you understand the overall market, right? I saw that we were at a PRZ zone. I see that we had a head and shoulders pattern. I'm not going to come to this chart and be like, okay, well, I know it's selling, but where's it going to buy from? Absolutely not. I see that this is going to be selling. So all I need to do is identify where those sell points will be. And even right now, if I get rid of this up here, I can probably identify where this is going to sell from again. The market is going to do the same thing over and over. It's called harmonics. And now I'm not talking about the actual harmonics like that and stuff. I'm talking about the market will be doing the same thing. It makes the same moves, right? It'll break a level of structure, it'll come back to a level of structure to ask itself, do I in fact want to continue to push much lower? And you'll be able to identify that based off the smaller time frame. So I will be looking at Euro GBP potential re-entries around that point. Nothing complicated, because I know right now, I mean, you can look at it, you can see it. Euro GBP is very bearish. It might come back down, in my opinion, to the most significant level of structure, which is pretty much at these lows here, right? So we have a long way to go with the Euro GBP. So yeah, Euro GBP, our trade setup on that and the signal that was given is definitely working beautifully. But I'll make sure that I identify some more re-entries, not just on this, but on other markets as well. But yeah. Good morning, everybody. What's good? It looks like everybody's just listening, paying attention. If you are getting some value, if you are learning, if you appreciate these sessions, do me a favor. Help me grow this even more to impact people's lives in a positive manner, and like this video. It definitely helps. I mean, I'm seeing such an extensive amount of growth in our community, and I'm really appreciative of you guys. I'm grateful. So thank you guys for really sticking with me, staying consistent on these calls. So if you guys are getting some value and learning and even making profits, making some money, like the video. That's all I ask, because it'll grow, and the more value and the more that we grow, the more value that I'll be giving out to you guys. I have a lot of ideas I want to do, like again, like that EA I showed you guys, or not the EA, but the person I'm going to consider on asking help me create a better EA, because once I tried doing that before, did not work that well. But he has some really good success, so I actually want to see if he can do it. That's something that I'll be giving out to my students, obviously. But there might be some value in some ways that I can even provide some EA value to you guys as well. So the more we grow, the more value you guys get. So yeah, definitely like the video. I appreciate you guys. And if you guys have any questions, if you guys would like to see any specific markets, feel free to let me know. I want to make sure that I'm speaking on relevance with you guys, make sure that I'm really educating and teaching you all, so that way you could all become better traders. It's very important that I do that. It's one of my dreams, one of my little goals, if you will, to really help people become more consistently profitable in the Forex markets with my teachings. And then with my service, I just make sure that everything's pretty much just automated at that point, like auto traders, signals and stuff. Just make sure that everybody's making money on top. So I just want to make sure that I'm helping you guys to the best of my abilities. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. I definitely got you. If there's any specific markets you want to take a look at, also let me know. I'm just taking a quick look at gold, because we did have news come out. It doesn't seem like much happened. We'll actually go over that real quick. So seems like it came out negative for the dollar. Came out negative for the dollar, which didn't really give such a strong impact. Honestly, we don't see a big move on that. So I really won't really consider the fundamental to play too much of a factor in our technical standpoint with our market. Let me just go to AU real quick. Beautiful. Okay. I'll actually just show you guys. So I did place a trade. Auto trader looking really good. So I did place a buy for students on our auto trader. I just wanted to take a quick look at that to see if we needed to take profits or anything, but it doesn't seem like we do. All right, looks good. So 142 pips for the day so far for the auto trader. So let me just go ahead and make sure that I'm identifying this, because I might have to move our stop losses just a little bit more into profit, so that way if the market just said, you know what, I'm good. You know what I mean? That's happened way too many times where we're in such a bomb trade, such a solid setup, and then the market says, now you're good, and comes out a profit. So I want to make sure I'm on top of that and making sure students are profitable. GJ, nice short entry, gearing up. I got in early, so in a little drawdown, also sold EuroCAD, and now in small profit. Let's take a look at Gbpjpy, because I'm actually looking for a trade setup. So this really doesn't, so I'll be completely honest with you guys. I don't necessarily see too much of a technical trade setup with this, only because it's been kind of choppy this week. I was looking at a inverted head and shoulders pattern. I was actually expecting this to continue to be more of a buy, to be completely honest. You can see that inverted head and shoulders pattern, this being the left shoulder, the head of the pattern, and the right shoulder. But as you see here, that did not work out, right? You can see it just completely continued to push down much lower. So in my honest and more humble opinion, to be completely honest, is I do see a sell setting up, but not on a technical factor. I do have a weird little strategy where I identify some really good entries based off of these moving averages and how the candlesticks react around them. So what I'm looking at is what I like to call a legacy line trade, where the market is, where I'm trying to find the most, I would say in this strategy, it doesn't mean that it is the most perfect, but with this specific strategy, it helps me identify the most relevant level of structure and price, where it gives you a highly accurate trade setup, which is a lot of the reasons why the auto trader is now in 152 pips of profit right now. It helps me identify highly accurate trades. I know it looks weird. I know probably nobody understands what the fuck they're looking at right now, but what I am looking at is this level of structure to be met, and then I'll be looking for my sells, right? But I will not disagree with you if you are even looking for sells now, because it does seem as if we are setting up for that. We have a minor level of structure even being here before it meets my, what I'm looking at. So you're not wrong in the sense of looking for a sell on GJ. I do think that GJ will continue to show some selling ability soon, but I would like to, actually we can add on this time frame a counter trend line. So a counter trend line is exactly what I'm saying. It is a trend line going against the current trend, right? I have a bullish trend line in a bearish market, currently a bearish market. So, or setting up rather. So if this is broken, that will give you even further confirmations and confidence as well to continue to hold that sell. But you also have this idea as well. Let's say that's broken, comes right back up. You have another entry. So I'll leave that counter trend line there as well. But yeah, let me see what else you guys got. No, that makes sense. Sweet, perfect. Yeah, what's good is I'm happy that our sessions and our community is attracting really good traders. You guys are very knowledgeable. I see a lot of you guys dropping a lot of information and sending me messages with your charts, and it's really good. You guys are solid. So any input that you guys have is great. If there's anything that you guys have, if you want to share information, by all means, feel free to do so. In my Discord, you guys can, by all means, share any and all charts. I even have my homie say if he wanted to send an entry, stop loss, take profit, where he's looking for trade setups, and he might even send some signals in that. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, go ahead. If you guys want to, even add value, by all means, feel free to do so. So if you want to send up your chart for EuroCAD and GJ, I'll take a look at that in the Discord for you. Make sure that you're on the right path, and see if there's anything that I could correct for you as well. But yeah, any questions? Any other markets you guys want to take a look at? I know you said EuroCAD, so let me actually see what EuroCAD's giving us. Not bad. Okay, let me see something real quick. So I'm on the higher time frame. Obviously, I want to understand the overall market. So very bullish overall, but what we are looking at is it's not as bullish anymore. What that means is it could be setting up for a strong sell-off, and it kind of already gave us that when we saw on the other time frames. But what I am looking at is this. It might look a little weird. It might look better on the smaller time frame, but what I'm looking at is this, right? I'm very, as you guys could see, I'm very much trying to pay attention to price and structure and where the market is going to make moves from, right? Because as you see here, this was, just that way you guys can actually see, this was a level of support. You can see here that it did in fact, or could not, break below this point at one time, right? Until what? It did. So since it's broken below that point and came back and retested, currently retesting, that could give us a strong idea that sells are still very much valid. So my man's over here saying, my man Fraser saying, he also sold EuroCAD and you're currently in small profits. That's beautiful. I do agree with that. I think that's a strong idea for continued sells, right? Now on a smaller time frame, because you got to get more detailed, you got to make sure that it is in fact a sell. You can't just say, well, daily time frame sell. No, but when we get more detail, right now I'm just cheating a bit. I know my structure was over here, was a little bit bigger, but now I'm cheating because we're on a smaller time frame. We can see the moves a little bit better, and we can start marking up a little bit more accurately. So if I draw it here, because I'm basing my structure off of over here, these candles here, this candle here, and also this breakout. That's important. Actions at a level of price, right? That is really important. We identify the most relevant level of price, and now we are identifying the actions within that area. Some of the actions are this level of respect, obviously the respect that we have all the way over here as well. And another form of action is this break. I'll just put break of structure. BOS, right? We have the break of that structure, and we currently have the retest. So with that retest of structure, it gives us a strong claim, a strong idea for continued sells. Now, if I actually add some more confluence, I could take my fib from swing high to swing low. And now, let me actually play this, or is this current market? Oh, this is current market. Okay. So I thought I was still on like the replay button, but what I can see is it didn't quite reach that 38.2. So what I would think is, and here's a nugget that not a lot of people, I guess, would know or even want to teach or care to teach. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to move it and be more specific now to that 38.2. Why? Because a 23.6 fib retracement is not an actual full correction, if you will. Meaning that, let's say you have an impulsive move down in the market, and I'll just draw it out so I can find the 23.6. Oh, pretty perfect. All right. So let's say you have a market that does that, hits a 23.6 and then moves down. You would have to still use this high to measure. It looks weird, but a full correction should only be valid when it hits a 38.2. If it doesn't at least hit the 38.2 minimum, it is still considered an impulsive move. So this would not even be a correction. This would be the entire impulse. And then let's say it does something like this, right? Then you get something like that. You would then have to adjust. And once that 38.2 is hit, then this is the full correction, but this is still part of the entire impulse. Hopefully that makes sense. So if you get a 23.6 Fibonacci retracement level of respect, it is not considered a correction. It is still considered an impulse. So right now, this is still very much impulsing bearish, unless it reaches that 38.2. If it reaches that 38.2, then we can validate this as an actual corrective move and look for our entries there, right? Because we have to have a full correction before we get into the next impulsive move to the downside. That's where the best risk to reward is. So in my honest opinion, if anything, I would say this would be our sell kill zone. So let me get rid of this. So for EuroCAD, thank you for bringing us on this so that way I can identify a potential entry. So this would be my sell kill zone. Now, that does not mean that your entry right now is not accurate. I could be absolutely wrong. Next thing you know, EuroCAD is just like, whoop, goes all the way down. So I would say if you're using proper risk management, you're good. You know what I mean? You're absolutely fine. But this will be my sell kill zone for EuroCAD. Let me add this to the little chart there. So that way I can identify some potential entries for legacy students. And if there is more setups and more signals that I'll be sending to students, I'll actually share this with you guys as well. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to give you guys at least one signal a day. Try to get you guys 50 pips to 100 pips on each trade. So that way even 1 to 2 signals a week will get you guys more profits than you could imagine. But obviously use proper risk management. But yeah, any other questions? Any other markets you guys want to take a look at, feel free to let me know. Definitely available. Want to make sure that I'm teaching and being relevant to everything you guys would like to take a look at and identify, because again, I want to make sure you guys are learning, progressing in your trading career, and ensure that everyone is getting a ton of value. Let me see, man, thanks for tightening my game. Great analysis. Yeah, never a problem. You're good. And again, it's not, don't take that as, you know, like what I'm doing, you know, supersedes what you're doing. There's times where I'm not right. You know what I mean? I was looking at buys on US30 yesterday, and that shit went straight to our stop loss. You know, we maintain more profitability with the consistency, but you're not always right. You know, or not you, but like in the general sense, a generalized statement, like we're not always correct with our analysis. I could be completely wrong right now, and you could be way right. And that, again, like your shit could just sell off and be, you know, instantly in profits. And I missed an opportunity because I didn't listen to you. You know what I mean? Somebody said gold, DU, please. What's DU? I don't even know. Oh, GU. Okay. And gold, please. All right. I got you. All right. So gold, there's nothing on it right now. There's absolutely nothing on gold as of now. I was taking a look at this, but as far as gold is concerned, there's nothing on it. I do think, I mean, obviously we're very much in a bearish market, so that should answer your question right then and there. You can see what this market is doing. It's selling. Now, where is it going to sell from? But I don't see anything on gold as of yet. If anything, as you can see here, this would be my only real sell point. So we'll do this, sell kill zone. No, I will not immediately place a trade when it gets there because it's pretty much almost there. I would identify some actions, or I would then do this because this is our ascending channel wall. So sell off top trend line if market shows clues. What I mean by shows clues, meaning that it shows us confirmations that it will in fact sell off from our initial drawn out trend line. Let me just correct this real quick. I do got my contacts in, so I can make this real perfect now. Let me see real quick. There we go. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much all I would see on gold. This is really choppy right now after NFP. As you can see, it's giving us a little bit of a bullish move. This is more of a bullish correction based off of this strong impulsive move to the downside. But this is pretty much all I would see. You know what I mean? So I'm only adding the fib so that way you guys can see that there is some fib or there can be fib confluence. But I'm not leaving it because when I leave it there, it just looks kind of crazy. I like my charts to be very clean, very simple. I don't want to overcomplicate or have so much in my chart that I don't know where I'm looking to enter. I identify the overall standpoint of what a market is going to be doing, and then I identify my entries based off of like the overall market structure. Let me see. That was helpful. I needed that refresher on the fibs. Yeah, I appreciate you being learning something, you know what I mean, or paying attention where you're getting that value. Because I know a lot of people just be like, "Yo, buy, sell now." But if you're getting actual value and educated, I love that. That's perfect. But gold, nothing on gold as of yet. Gbpjpy, as you can see, this is extremely bullish, right? And you know what? I'm actually angry. I did not place this in our auto trader. I was supposed to actually place this buy in our auto trader, and I didn't. I placed AU. Let me actually see. Did I place it? I did not. I got Euro GBP still for them. So, oh no, that's something different. Okay, I know what that is. But yeah, I'm looking at. All right, I thought I bought this for our auto trader last night, but I absolutely didn't. I apologize to students. At least you guys got AU. But yeah, GU is very much bullish. All right, let me actually just go over some of the reasonings on why this is bullish. So if I'm looking at GU again, I have to understand the overall time or the overall trend direction, and I have to do that on a higher time frame, being the daily or the weekly. Now, yes, gold was very bearish for such a long time. I can see that those highs to that low is bearish, but we're not getting that as of right now, right? We can see currently on a higher time frame from October or September rather, we have been buying. So since September to now, GBPUSD has been pretty bullish, right? So we got to stay true to that sense because yes, this is bearish over here, but does that impact or tell us what's currently happening? No. So we have to see what the market is giving us now, the more current standpoint. So if I look left to get right, I can see that we hit a what? PRZ zone. Now I'm going to draw this out to be the entire zone and show you exactly why I never have my zones that big. There's nothing wrong with that in the sense of having your zone or identifying a price point the way that you personally like it. But when it comes down to entering or trying to scale down to a smaller time frame, get further analysis, it's going to be very difficult to identify anything because everything will be blue or whatever color you have your structure. So we're going to cheat a bit and we're going to put our structure here. Right now, I do know there's a break below. Again, this is our entire structure, but I'm cheating because I want my chart to look clean. I don't want it to be all crazy. So I'm going to do this. I can see that there's a level of structure. Again, price, action. Identify the most relevant level of price and the actions that proceed within them. So we have a level of support. Just a simple concept, right? Level of support. Structure. Nothing complicated about that whatsoever. So we have that level of support, and what could we do when we identify a level of support? We should be identifying actions. What other actions can we see? So if I do this, that was a rejective candle, or more along the lines of giving you a bullish idea. So identify the characteristics of candlesticks. So bullish variant candle. I'll just leave it like that, just so that way you guys don't get too confused with everything. And if you don't have a candlestick cheat sheet, you should, and you can easily find them on Google Images. Just put in Forex cheat sheet or Forex candlestick cheat sheet, and you'll get a ton of information on why or how to identify candlesticks and why they are important. Because when you start identifying a level of structure, again, you need to find the actions that proceed within that level of structure. One of those actions should definitely be your candlesticks and how they look and how they're behaving at that price point, because then that will determine the next true move of the market. So you can see here we have a bullish variant candle. When we scale down, right, again, this is called time frame confluence. When we scale down to a smaller time frame, being the 4 hour, you can see that we had a bullish engulfing candle, another bullish variant candle, right? We can even just adjust it to there. So we're getting a bullish idea, right? We were such in a strong sell from these highs to these lows, and for some reason out of nowhere, it just stopped dead in its tracks and gave us a strong buy there, a bullish engulfing candle. That characteristic, or that variance, if you will, of that candle is showing me that sellers are probably not as strong as they were, and buyers are probably taking over. That is an action at a level of price. Makes sense? So when I can't sit back and say, well, I'm going to look for a buy there. It's confirmed. Absolutely not. Again, when we scale down even further for more detail, what are some things that started setting up and started to see that you can identify that will show you that this market is, in fact, of strong bullish or strong buy now? Actions at a level of price. You have that inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? And what happened? Started becoming bullish. So right now, I mean, you could answer your own question. GU is very bullish. You don't have to ask somebody if something is buying or if it is selling. Look at it. What is it doing? Is it up or is it down? Makes sense? Like, I want everybody to understand that trading is not as hard as we think. If I remove everything, you could say that, yes, this is bearish. If I go here and you look at GU, at the current standpoint, what would you say this is doing? You would say that this is currently buying, right? And it is. You answered your own question. You have to identify, I mean, you don't have to identify everything to determine that this is currently buying. You can see it. You can see that this market is very bullish. So my opinion, GU, bullish. You have to, I mean, if you look at the chart and you can call a spade, if you're like, well, this is currently buying, then you've answered your own question. If you're asking where is it going to buy from, where do you think? Where do you think? My man Jerome, what's good, baby? Yep, that inverted head and shoulders pattern. A lot of people be like, yo, why do you always identify that? You're crazy. Because of shit like this. Because then when you identify things like that, you can have 200 pips in profit for your students on an auto trader. You know what I mean? So, and if you're like, oh, it's on a demo account, yes, I know. I have my personal accounts attached to it. So, and that's on live with different lot sizes. I only put, small lot sizes for students so that way I'm not over leveraging their accounts based off their account sizes. You know what I mean? But yeah, that inverted head and shoulders pattern is one of the main reasons why I was looking at AU buys as well. This didn't give us really an inverted head and shoulders. I mean, it did over here, but not over entry, right? But this is one of the main reasons why I was looking for those initial buys, right? That's exactly why we identify levels of structure. We identify the actions that happen in those levels of structure, because you get tons and tons of entries, tons of profits. So yeah, GU, for the individual who was asking, Gbpjpy USD is very much bullish. I do think that a correction will probably happen here. It's going to reach, is gravitating towards the next resistance point, right? Anytime you're on a chart and you start to see that, oh, well, it's buying complete, it's such a strong buy. Yes, it is. But where is it going to probably give you a correction from? Probably here, probably at that high point, right? Because as you see here, this was a level of resistance and the market sold off completely. Not a strong level of resistance, but you can see that this was, in fact, this price point, for some reason, after it started selling and it corrected, it just stopped dead in its tracks at that price point and sold off. That could potentially happen again. Now, I don't mean like a reversal, but I mean, it could do something like this, right? The market is currently buying to the upside, and it can come right back down to where the most relevant and significant level of structure before it finds its next buy opportunity. So if you're asking, where would I like to enter GU from? That's where, because I know you guys just be like, yo, where's the fucking entries at? But I have to make sure that you understand the reasoning behind the entries before you look for any trades. If you're like, yo, so should I buy right now? Should I buy from here? Absolutely not. You do not place trades when they're already making their move, and you do not buy at high points. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to buy when it's at its highest point. You want to give it a little bit more, you want to give yourself more risk to reward. So I would say this week we can actually do this. This could be a double up. I'll say a PRZ zone, because everything's potential. It's not for sure. Potential reversal zone. And yes, you can have PRZs on smaller time frames. right? And when I mean reverse, I don't mean an actual reverse and it's going to continue to sell off. I'm saying that this could be our potential reversal zone that will cause our correction to the downside. So it'll look something like this. Where is my little, there it is. So it can do something like this, right? Come back up to these highs and then come right back down to these lows. What we can do is look for a sell. That actually looks crazy. We could look for the market to reach here, continue its initial buy, and when it reaches there, we could look for a potential counter trend trade. Exactly what I'm saying is exactly what it means. It is going against the initial trend in the market because right now we know that this is bullish, right? But it's such a strong impulsive move with no correction. When you reach a level of structure, it's not just going to say, well, I've been a buy this entire time, I'm going to continue to be a buy. No. When it reaches specific levels of structure, or not specific levels of structure, but when you get to a resistance or support point, it's going to get tired. It's going to be tired from there. The analogy I like to use is when you are, I don't know if anybody was a rambunctious little kid like me, but has anyone as a kid just ran up a flight of stairs, like just to see like from the first floor how far you can go? Like you go up 3 flights of stairs, 4, you're tired, you're exhausted. That's exactly what the market's doing here. It's going to run up all those stairs, right? Starting on the first floor, now you're at the 5th floor. You're out of breath, you're tired. You need to get a little bit of a breather before you go and try to, take another 5 flights of stairs. That's the market doing it. The correction is the market taking a breather, right? It's building up that momentum and energy needed in order for it to continue to push up higher. So what that is it's that correction. So it's taking a breather in that in this move to the downside before the next initial buy. So we're going to put this buy kill zone because this is probably going to be your best initial buy entry. But you can also say that we have an argument for a counter trend trade move leading into our buy. So I'm actually going to put this as well. Counter trend trade move. Very simple. So that would be considered a potential sell. But I mean, as you can see, GU very bullish. I would not go against that. Thank you. That was awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. If you guys are getting some value, if you're learning something, if you're always on these calls, if you want to continue to get more value that I want to present to you guys, make sure you like this video. Hey, Segway King, baby. Nah, but seriously, if you guys can like the video, if you haven't already, it definitely helps. We are growing this community. Obviously, as you see, there's tons of value. There's tons of profits. You know what I mean? There's tons of everything for you guys. Signals, analysis, education, and real interaction. If you guys are getting some value, if you want more value, go ahead, like this video, share it with anybody who you know is learning how to trade, who you think could use some assistance. Get them on here, share this like this is really important. Again, by the end of the year, I'm trying to have thousands of people on these calls. If in fact we do get thousands of people on these calls, because it's very much possible, I'm going to figure out a way how to get everyone involved in profits, not just legacy students. But yeah, further on that if we get to that point. But yeah, like the video, let's grow this community. If you're not a part of our Discord as well, the link to our Discord is in the description below. I'm always sharing analysis. As you guys can see, I'm always sharing some trade signals with you guys as well. Our Euro GBP trade from I think Monday was a banger. Our Gbpjpy trade is also looking pretty good for us as well currently. So if you guys want that, make sure that you're a part of our community. Yes, completely I agree. Makes perfect sense. Hey, I appreciate that. I'm glad you're getting some education. Stairs analogy 3 years ago. Yeah, the one thing with me is I understand that, especially with trading, you have to be very robotic. You have to make sure you're doing the same thing over and over again. Look at that. That's why we let the markets develop. But you have to make sure that you're not robotic in the sense, but the same thing I'm doing right now on the charts is the same thing I've been doing since I first started learning how to trade. Right? Not really much has switched up in the sense of my approach to the market. So yeah, I'll use the same analogies because that repetition, the I would say commonality of that is it helps. You know what I mean? Because if you start trying to think of a million and one things, you're not going to stay focused on the main goal, which is finding an accurate entry for profits. So yeah, I'm always going to make sure that I use the same analogies. My analogies are pretty basic, but they work. You know what I mean? I don't know how many times people are like, yo, that weird analogy definitely helped me. So yeah, if it helps, I got you. So yeah, any other questions? Any other markets you guys want to take a look at? I'm just taking a quick look here on gold to see if there was a potential trade setting up there, but I don't think so, especially with the idea that we're looking at. We'll go back to GU. With GU being bullish, obviously I'm buying AU and everything. Might take profits on some things here in a second, just so that we leave some good profits for students' accounts. But we can see that this is very much bullish with the idea that GU and AU and a lot of these US cross pairs are bullish right now. I might not look for those sells on gold. We might actually start to see a break above. I mean, we already have a break above our level of structure, but I also want to see a break above, which we might actually get soon, above our trend line here, because obviously we're in a ascending channel. So if that's broken to the upside, then we already know that this is going to continue to be extremely bullish. So yeah, just taking a quick look at gold, especially with the news actually too. It did come out negative for the dollar. So with the negative release of the dollar news could impact obviously the value of the initial dollar. So I want to see what initially happens with that. But yeah, any questions, anything you guys got for me, feel free to let me know. Definitely got you guys. And also the correlation of Euro GBP being a strong sell-off. I mean, that when Euro GBP is selling, that means the pound is gaining strength. So yeah, GU buys all day, baby, buys all day, and pretty much anything against the US dollar for that matter. So yeah, any other questions, any other markets you guys want to take a look at, feel free to let me know. If not, I'll conclude for today. I want to make sure that, for one, I'm paying attention to our auto trader, closing things out in profits and finding some more entries for students. Also seeing if there's any trade signals that I can share with them, and obviously with you guys as well. It's very important that not only do I educate, but I make sure that you guys see that the education that I give you does work in real time, right? That it does work in the markets. It is profitable. And the simple approach to trading is probably the best approach to trading, because if your charts start looking like this, and you have structure all over the place, you don't know where to enter. You know what I mean? If your chart starts looking like this and you have all these crazy things on your chart, like, just to give you guys an example, where is it? Am I bugging? Oh, it's up here. Like, you have fib spirals. I know I do this every session, but it's just to keep you guys on your toes, because like, you can make trading very difficult. You can have stuff like this. I don't even know how to use that. You know what I mean? If your charts look like that, you need help, like, just keep it very simplified, right? You always want to have a simple approach. So if you're not doing that, do that. But yeah, I'm just seeing if there's any questions, any comments, but it looks like you guys are Gucci. Looks like you guys are good. So what I'll do is, if you guys are good, if you guys don't have any other charts or any other questions, yeah, we'll conclude for today. I'll be catching back on, obviously, with you guys first thing tomorrow morning. I apologize for not being on yesterday. My alarm did not go off, and I was up all night looking for trades and making sure students were good, answering questions, so I kind of slept past my alarm. So I do apologize for that. But tomorrow morning, again, same time. I know we started a little bit late today. I just really wanted to make sure that I was answering some students that were needing some help. So definitely tomorrow morning, first thing 7:30, we'll be on 7:30 a.m. Eastern. So that way you guys can obviously join myself, identify what the markets are going to be leaving behind. Tomorrow being Friday, they will be Forex markets will be closing, so we'll be able to identify some potential moves leading into next week. See if there's any trade opportunities that we can find, even from on a Monday, which I don't like to trade too much on Mondays, but there are opportunities, and we can find that on Friday, and also get a nice overview of what happened this week. So that way we can identify some moves leading into next week. But it looks like you guys are good. So what we'll do is we'll conclude for today. I'll catch back on with you guys first thing tomorrow morning. If anyone here has any questions, feel free to hit me up in the Discord. Again, if you're not a part of that, the link is in the description below. Be sure to join so that way you stay on top of any updates, any lives, any signals, any value that I do give to you guys as well. So yeah, appreciate you guys. Have an amazing day. Hopefully everybody had an amazing week so far. If you made profits on any of the trades, if you're making value from any of these sessions, make sure you leave a like so that way we can continue to grow and I can continue to give you guys more value. So appreciate you guys. Have an amazing day. See you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.